Somewhere in the world right now, this property is listed for under $100,000. Not a fixer-upper, not a compromise. A villa, a pool, stone floors, and lemon trees. And the person who buys it will not be wealthy. They will just be paying attention. Right now, the average one-bedroom apartment in London rents for over £2,000 a month. In New York, over $3,000. In Sydney, over 2,000 Australian dollars. And somewhere you have probably never seriously considered moving to. You could buy a house outright, permanently, in your name, with a pool and a view for less than what most people spend on rent in a single year. This is not a loophole, this is geography. The people buying these homes are not investors with portfolios and offshore accounts. They are teachers, nurses, freelancers, and retirees who discovered that the rules they were following only applied to the country they were standing in. Change the country, change the rules. Italy is, by almost any measure, one of the most beautiful countries on earth. It is also, in certain regions, one of the cheapest places to own property. In Calabria, the southernmost tip of the country, you can purchase a home for under €25,000, roughly $27,000, in a region with some of the least polluted beaches in Europe. Cross into the neighboring region of Basilicata, home to the ancient city of Matera, carved into limestone cliffs and named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And the average property price sits at around €22,000, $25,000, for a home in Italy. If that number sounds wrong, it is because nobody told you to look here. Venture slightly north into Tuscany, and that same budget stretches to homes priced between $76,000 and $87,000, with rolling vineyards on three sides and a market town 10 minutes away, €22,000. That is less than the average annual rent for a studio apartment in most Western cities. And it is a permanent address in Italy. The price is not the shocking part. The shocking part is that this listing has been sitting there waiting while most people scrolled past it because they never thought to look. France has been pulling people toward it for centuries. What is less known is how far your money can stretch once you leave Paris. In Sarlat-la-Canada, in the southwest, one of the most visited medieval towns in the entire country, you can buy a detached three-bedroom stone cottage for €88,000, just over $96,000. A two-bedroom holiday home with a shared pool in the same area, €82,000. Venture north to Normandy, and that number drops further still. Luxurious two-bedroom cottages, €76,000, $83,000. France has always been expensive, just not everywhere, and not if you know where to look. In London, a single parking space recently sold for $95,000. For $3,000 less, you could own a three-bedroom stone cottage in the French countryside. Same budget, different planet. Stop for a moment, because I want to be clear about something before we continue. Every number you have heard so far is real. Every property is listed on publicly accessible platforms that anyone can visit right now. The reason most people have never considered buying property in these places is not because it is complicated, and it is not because it is risky. It is because the default assumption is that your life happens where you already are. But that assumption was never a rule. It was just a habit. Spain is not a secret destination. It is one of the most visited countries on Earth. What is less understood is how dramatically the price changes once you move away from the headline cities. In Alicante, a variety of properties are available from €70,000, roughly $77,000. In Murcia, a coastal property costs roughly half to a third of what you would pay in equivalent coastal cities in Northern Europe. And in Costa del Sol, Andalusia, one of the regions Forbes listed as among the 5 best places to buy affordable real estate, a 4-bedroom townhouse is currently listed for around $81,000. 4 bedrooms in Spain, on the coast. Greece has carried a complicated reputation since its financial crisis. What that crisis left behind, quietly, was some of the most affordable real estate in Europe. In the region of Lani, 3-bedroom houses are listed from as low as €22,000. In central Macedonia, a spacious 4-bedroom cottage is available for €80,000, just under $88,000. And across the country, if you are willing to invest some renovation work, rustic stone houses are available from €50,000. Greece is not cheap because it is struggling. It is cheap because the world stopped paying attention. You do not have to. Cyprus is the 3rd largest island in the Mediterranean, year-round sun. some of the cleanest beaches in Europe. A property market that has been rising for a decade. In the district of Leopetrae, a rustic two-bedroom village house is currently listed for just over $50,000. In the Long Beach area, a brand new one-bedroom apartment with pool access and beach proximity, just under $100,000. And in Paphos, the island's most popular region, a three-bedroom detached villa with a private swimming pool and ensuite bathrooms, it is currently listed for just under $80,000. In Cyprus, with a pool, under $80,000. Ecuador sits between Colombia and Peru on the Pacific coast of South America. Ocean view houses start at $49,000. A brand new three-bedroom, two-bathroom home in Santa Elena, $68,000. A three-bedroom home with a private pool, walking distance from both the beach and downtown, $75,000. And according to International Living, a couple can live comfortably in Ecuador for less than $23,000 a year. The Dominican Republic offers a different version of the same math. Luxury condos with sea views in Las Terrenas are listed from $65,000 with tax incentives for foreign buyers and one of the fastest growing tourism economies in the Caribbean. Colombia has spent the last 15 years rebuilding its global reputation. What it built quietly, while doing so, was one of South America's most functional real estate markets. In Medellin and Santa Marta, both are ranked as highly expat-friendly with state-of-the-art healthcare. Three-bedroom apartments are listed from $28,000, three-bedroom houses from $64,000. In the capital Bogota, a four-bedroom, two-bathroom house in the Cundinamarca region is listed for around $50,000. Colombia has been discovered, but it has not yet been priced accordingly. That window is still open, for now. Here is what these markets have in common. Every single one of them is rising. Italy's cheapest regions have attracted international attention in the last 3 years. Spain's coastal markets have been climbing since 2021. Colombia's urban centers are developing faster than the price lists can keep up with. The properties you just saw are available today. That word today is doing a lot of work in that sentence. The Italian government's €1 home program attracted so much attention that several municipalities closed applications. Croatia's incentive homes sold out in a single development cycle. These markets do not stay still while you are deciding. The only difference between the people who bought and the people who didn't is when they stopped watching and started moving. There is a number that changes how most people think about property. It is not their credit score. It is not their salary. It is the number of countries they have considered buying in. For most people, that number is 1, the country they already live in, which is also, by no coincidence, the most expensive place they could possibly buy. The people sitting by pools they own in Italy, Spain, Greece, and Colombia did not have more money than you. They had a wider search radius. The Italian listings are still there. The French cottages are still available. The Colombian apartments are still underpriced. And every single day that number stays the same is another day. Someone else is narrowing the gap between where they are and where they want to be. The gate is still open. The question is whether you walk through it or whether you keep paying rent on the life you settled for.